preaching her word of love, self-union, of unity.
Not in.
And she was murdered by people that was jealous of her as a leader.
Get the view
being
from
an
that
African
side so you
woman,
don't get the sunshine.
It was very controversial at the time. And so this is a very special day for me, and it's a very special day for Women's International Day. And also she's from Ghana, and Ghana Independence Day was March 6th. It's March 6th, so it's the week of Ghanaian Independence Day, and also the month of Women's History Month. So it's just a powerful day, and I feel very honored and blessed and privileged to share her story with all of you. So before she was assassinated, she told her followers that she was going to be murdered, and that shortly afterwards, and actually I'll read it out of a book my grandfather wrote. I'll go into that a little bit, but let me just read that quote so I don't have to. So actually, I'll go ahead and talk about this book. So this is called Mother Sacred Teachings. So this is a story of her life according to her followers, and also her sayings. And my grandfather gathered these. He's originally from South Africa. His name is Eli Nyambolo. So these are their pictures. This is Mother Kofi, and this is Eli Nyambolo. And I think it's important to mention that we called her Mother Kofi because they saw her we see her as our mother. And she called her followers her children. And so in this book, there's all these teachings that she said. So when going to the church that my grandfather built, he bought 11 acres of land and built a church and a community, and taught her followers taught her followers the basic Bantu language from South Africa, and taught them customs in the hopes of the Pan-Africanism movement of supporting business and trade and self-union and help between Africa and African Americans. And so this is a book of some of her teachings. And so while in church we would come up and say one of her sayings. So in this book it says, Mother said, for example, children, if I should fall, one man God has promised me to meet someone out of Africa who will come to take up my work. She also said, he will be little, a little man, and he's little but mighty loud. The government affairs of your mother's program will be upon his shoulders. Children, if you love my brother, and so what he tells you to do, he will put the program over. Children, beware, not everything out of Africa is African in spirit. Children, always pray that ye be not deceived. Always try the Spirit by the Spirit. Children, obedience is always better than any sacrifice you can make. Offenses will come, but woe to that man or woman by whom it comes. And quote from Matthew 18:6-7. And whosoever shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. And one of my other favorite sayings that I just know by heart, she always said that children, my program may look like it's dead, but it will rise in a new corner. And so it's still alive in the community that my grandfather built, and it's alive here today. And it's alive in all of us as I'm sharing this story with you. And so backtracking, my connection. So she basically prophesied about my grandfather, that he would be a short man in stature from Africa. My grandfather came in the early 30s and worked with the African Native Union in New York City. And he heard of her story. Her followers found him and said, "You were the person that she prophesied about." He accepted the calling, bought 11 acres of land, built a church and community with homes. And not many people could afford these homes, so he would have them live in this community that he called Adorkaville for $1 a year. He passed away well before I was born, but I still grew up learning of these customs and learning of her story. And so as a musician, so this is on my mother's side, my mother's father. And as a musician, I felt compelled to share the story, and I decided to write it in a musical suite, a suite of music. and it has movements, and it also quotes some of the hymns that that he wrote, and some of the excerpts out of the book, of the sacred teachings. And I performed it in 2017 at St. George's Episcopal Church, and I felt like it had a bigger life than just a suite of music. So I decided to expand it to I expanded the band, and I expanded it to a 5-piece dance ensemble, and to where it is now. And I got to perform it at Ars Nova a year ago, and then we also performed it in Maine a couple months ago. And the way that I see it now is as an immersive theatrical ceremony, in which, it's a ceremony in which we're celebrating her life, but it's also a time when we take everyone in the audience. It's immersive in that way, that today we're honoring her life and celebrating her life, but also take this time to remember the people that have positively affected you and that may not be with you today. And we take that time to call upon their spirits and to honor them all together as we celebrate Mother Kofi's life. And so we got to perform that at Ars Nova in May of last year, and then November of 2019. I also felt like it has an educational component, that we should be teaching, these African customs. We should be teaching these languages. We should be teaching these styles. So the show, speaks on, just the music of the African diaspora. I'll go more into that. And also the different dance styles. Today we don't have any dancers, but it speaks on the Orisha dance style, on stomp, on tap dancing, on just interpretive movement, to just kind of show how it all connects and how it all connects back to Africa. And that we always have a home there. And that was her message, that we always have a home back in the motherland. And so I wanted to add an educational component to that. So we got to go to Maine and perform the show, but also work with local students, work with a dance academy, and teach them some of the Orisha dance, teach them some of the tap dance, and how they all connect, and they got to be a part of the performance. So for me, it's still a living piece. It's a living story that is very real to me. And I'm still, developing the show, but the show has, the show is connected to her movement, and I feel compelled that I feel compelled to let her movement continue to live on through the show that I'm writing. So, that being said, I'll dive into some of the pieces, and everybody welcome Brendan Pope. Yeah. Brendan's an angel. I met Brendan, well, it was over 15 years ago, something like that. But we went to school together at Florida State. And we both studied with world-renowned pianist Marcus Roberts. Marcus Roberts played with Wynton Marsalis for 10 years, and has gone off to do amazing things on his own. He's featured on 60 Minutes, and actually he's going to be performing, I'll be performing with him actually at Carnegie Hall with the American Symphony Orchestra.
Can we go?
Yeah, please come. No, seriously, definitely. This coming week on Thursday. We're gonna play pieces of Duke Ellington. So the first piece that I have from the show. So I'm just gonna be doing different songs from the show, and the first piece is entitled Yorubaland, because her ancestry goes back to the Yoruba people. And so I wanted to write a piece that kind of depicts all the traditions, the Orisha tradition, and I studied with the Babalawo, I studied with the Olorisha, and his name is Oludare Bernard, and together we developed this piece called Yorubaland.
Wow.
Right.